This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the tomtoc Wander-T26 Daily Sling 5.5 liter, which we've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So the primary material that we're working with here is 1680D nylon. It feels a lot like Cordura. It does not have that name brand, but that's just the material that I'm probably familiar with most that feels and looks like this. I think it has a very nice texture to it, and I do like the the different lines that we've got going on here on the front. I do have this stuff really full right now, as you'll see when we get inside, and you can kind of see it gets a little bit, I don't want to say boxy, but just depending on what gear you have in there. So I typically didn't have it this stuffed full. I took this on a recent trip to Boston and wore it pretty much the whole time on my front and on my back. But we'll get into that as well. But overall, I really like how this thing looks. Nice little contrast with that zipper pull there as well. We have the tomtoc logo over here on this side, which is very small, sleek. It's made of metal. I don't know, I like that. I think that's their new thing, is putting these little metal logos on there. So I'm here for that. I don't know, it's not very classic, but I think it looks pretty nice. We have YKK zippers throughout this pack. Oops, sorry, wrong side there. Very easy to work with, easy to open, easy to close. YKK is some of the best in the business, in my personal opinion. We have Duraflex hardware here on these sides, these little swivel clips, but we'll get into those more a bit later, but didn't pop off or anything like that. They make it easier to wear it, but again, I'm gonna put this on later so you will see that. We have compression straps here on the sides, one on this side, there we go, we're focused, and then one on this side over here. I didn't find those the most useful because this material holds its shape really well, so I guess you can cinch it down to make it a little bit smaller, or if you don't have very much stuff in here, you can kind of cinch it down so your stuff's not moving around so much if you don't have this thing filled up. But I didn't find them super useful, but I don't think they really take away anything, but the way they are right now, there is a little bit of extra strap here, but it's really not the end of the world. I mean, at least for me personally. Got this little, I believe, a bike light down here on the bottom. You could use it for other things too. You could attach like a carabiner or a strap here. I do like that this is here. I typically, when I'm riding my bike, have a light on my bike, but if you're riding like, a friend's bike or something like that, or maybe you have like 5 bikes and you want to just have one bike light, you could use this instead of just moving it from bike to bike to bike or buying multiple lights. So we have a handle here on the top. Fair amount of padding there, it's kind of comfortable to hold on to, but this is a sling, so you're going to be using this most of the time, but you can take this strap off, so if you wanted to do that and stow it away somewhere, you could just carry it like this while you're on the plane or something like that. It's nice to have that option, and it is pretty comfortable. It's very wide, so even big hands can fit through there. So on the back panel here, we have a bit of padding. It's actually in between like the materials here, so it's not the most padded back panel we've ever seen, but it's pretty comfortable. Depends what you're gonna stow in this back pocket here. If you were to put something lumpy in there, it might not be the most comfortable, but if you put something flat there, which is what I would recommend doing, I think it'll be pretty comfortable. No aeration or anything like that, so it is gonna get a bit warm, but wasn't too bad in my personal opinion. It's February right now, so it's kind of cold, but it was 60 a few times when I wore this thing and it didn't get too warm. So when we get to the strap here, as you can see, we have this movable thing right here, which I really like because you can go from front to back carry without having to move this, or it moves itself, but it stays in the same place, if that makes sense. And it also can go over the hard plastic thing here, which a lot of times it can't. And I really like that it can, because you just have more versatility with where it can go. And we have these little daisy chain here. I guess I shouldn't say little, it's kind of big, but to attach gear if you want to do that. And this is an ambidextrous strap because, well, I guess I don't know if ambidextrous is the right word, but you can wear it on either side because it's not like side restrictive, if that makes sense. And you can slide this around, so you can put it on either shoulder when you're having it on your front or on your back. So very happy with this strap. One thing to know is that these buckles make a little squeaking noise, and I can't get it to do it for the camera. It's only when you're wearing it, and it's really quiet. And it's not really that annoying, but you can just constantly hear a little, like sounds like a little birdie or something like that. So maybe I'm just going nuts and it's not really happening, but there is a little squeaking noise and I've gotten used to it, so it doesn't bother me so much, but if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, that's worth noting. So if you have found this video helpful so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel and throw a like on this video so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. But as you can see now, I have this on my front side here, and I do have the padding on my shoulder here. This is how I typically wore it while I was traveling with this in Boston. Very comfortable. I didn't have as much gear as I have in here right now, but I think I did have stuff that was a little bit heavier, so maybe a comparable weight. and never felt that it was uncomfortable, never thought that it was really restricting me in any way. And something I really like about this, I'm gonna stand sideways so you can see it, is like if you use friction to your advantage, you can really easily transition this from front to back and still remain comfortable. Sorry if I hit the mic there, because that padding slides really easily and you can make the transition. I found that making the transition forward is a bit harder because you do have this buckle here, or the adjuster here, but you can still do it without too much issue. And sorry again if I hit the mic there. But overall, I found this thing to be pretty comfortable. If you do have a smaller frame, it might be a little bit big for you, just a little bit wide, because it is pretty big, and it is so you can fit wider items inside of here, which we'll go over when we get into the main compartment. But overall, very happy with the comfort of this thing and just how well it wears. So at 5.5 liters, this isn't a huge sling, but there is a lot of space here, and we've got 2 secondary compartments to work with, so let's dive into those. On the back side here, we do have a pocket, and you can kind of tuck this zipper pull in like that if you want to, but it likes to kind of pop out. Doesn't bother me much, but figured I would mention it. I don't have anything stowed inside of here right now, but while we were traveling, this is where I kept her in Boston, so we did the Freedom Trail and did a few other things, and we got some free maps. Nice to have a physical copy of things every once in a while, and I put this back here just so I knew where it was. I could get to it pretty easily, and it's just flat. Like, you don't have to worry about it too much, and you can kind of see, maybe not so well on the camera, but there's that padding there that I mentioned earlier. This is a good time to talk about as well. The interior of this is blue. It reminds me of the like cool blue or whatever Gatorade. That was one of my favorites when I was a kid. It's just very, I don't know. I like this color a lot, especially compared to seeing orange a lot right now. And I don't love that. It just kind of like, it doesn't actually hurt my eyes, but it just like, kind of jarring, if that makes sense. So good spot back here to put your passport, maps, whatever. And you have that nice cool blue interior so you can see your gear, and just, I don't know, it's a nice pop and a nice contrast compared to the black exterior. And we also have a blue zipper pull, as I mentioned earlier. But we have on the front pocket here, so right now I have so much in the main compartment, it's kind of hard to use this for more than just flat stuff. So I have some gum in here, picked this up for the flight. I am notorious for like my ears popping while I'm taking a flight, so I just still have the gum in there from when we flew to Boston. And then I have my phone in here as well. So there are 2 pockets in here, as you can see, one on either side. So my phone doesn't fit this way in the pocket. It would fit, like it fits widthway that ways, but then it doesn't really fit nicely in here. I think I tried and was able to actually close it once, but that's not really a good option, I don't think. You probably could slide this in the back pocket if you wanted to, just not for me. I would prefer to put it in my pocket or just in the main compartment. But pretty good size compartment here. And then on the bottom there, we have a metal key clip, and I'm really digging this metal on a few of the tomtoc things that I have reviewed recently. It just feels more sturdy than the plastic, and I've never really had an issue with a plastic key clip before, except for a few times when they're the ones that just have a little gap and have had things come off. But I don't know, I just really like that this is metal. When you're going on a trip, especially if you want to like leave your key somewhere, you know, like, okay, this is where my keys are, so when I get back, I have my keys to get into my house, or my car key or whatever. You can attach it to this and it's not going anywhere because it's nice metal pull. And it has got some distance, but depending on where your lock on your door is, you might need to take it off to get the key out anyways. But pretty happy with these 2 secondary compartments. When you do have the main compartment super packed out, as I do right now, there isn't as much depth there, so that's something to consider when you're packing this out. So hopping into the main compartment, it's really not the organization that makes this thing shine. I think it's just the footprint that it has, if that makes sense. And I can explain now that we're inside of here. So there's a pretty large main area here, and I'm not really using it right now because I am using the organization so much. But the reason the organization works is because it's long and skinny. So a lot of tech now is long and skinny. It's sleek. It's not always shiny, but it is long, and it like to save space and to fit into like a backpack or a sling or something like that. So I have my Nintendo Switch here, which is also in a tomtoc case. I've had this for absolutely ages. You can see it is not the cleanest case, but it serves me well. It never had any issues with my Switch breaking, but that fits inside this back area here. We don't have a Steam Deck on hand here, but have been told that that also fits here or in the main area. So you could also fit this inside the main area here, and there's a little bit of room on the side if you wanted to add some more gear inside of there. So you can fit a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck in there pretty nicely. Now we can get a little bit better of an idea of looking at the organization here. We've got 2 mesh pockets here on either side of this compartment. In this one here, I have my Instax Mini 90. My favorite Instax Mini, just has a lot of features and I really enjoy using it. Took this to Boston with me as well. And what I did while we were traveling around Boston is I had the camera in here and I had my film in the front compartment. So I didn't have as much stuff in here, so there's a little bit more depth here, and I had, I think, 3 packs of film in here most of the time, and then would replace it when I got back to the hotel. But I have these nice pockets. They're pretty big, so smaller items don't do super well here. Like this mouse is just kind of swimming around inside of here. Hasn't fallen out, and I've been testing this as well, so look for a full review on this Pebble. But it did, did okay inside of there, and I would only bring this if maybe I had a laptop bag with me or something like that, because I used this as my tech pouch while I was traveling. I didn't bring a tech pouch, but then I had my computer in my backpack, so that worked nicely, but it did swim around a little bit, so I wouldn't put anything too tiny that you're worried about popping out here. Again, we have this huge main area, as you can see. If you don't have a bunch of large items, you can fit some stuff inside of here. Like I had my GoPro, I had a little like hand grip for my GoPro, and a few other things were bouncing around in here. I can't remember exactly what was in there while I was traveling, but I had quite a bit of stuff inside of here, and then I had more of my tech kind of organized in these pouches. But in the zipper compartment here, we've got that same mesh, and I have a cheap version of Nintendo Switch Pro Controller. I have the Pro Controller at home, but I prefer to take this one with me while I'm traveling because I don't want to break the Pro Controller, so that one stays at home, and I've got this cheaper one that comes with me. But the Pro Controller fits in here as well. It's this exact same size. You can really fit a ton of gear inside of here, and it's pretty wild to me. I've got the Switch, the controller, the Instax Mini, the mouse, and then I also have all of my charging cables. So I got 3 different charging cables here. I've got my phone cable, the Lightning, USB-C to USB-C for the Nintendo Switch, and then a micro USB to charge my headphones, which I forgot at home today, but had in here during my trip. So you really can fit just a ton of gear in here. And then I have both of the charging bricks as well. So now we can get a really good look at this thing because I've taken all of the gear out of it. And there, like I said, it's not really the organization that does it for me. It's the dimensions. It's not super thick, but it is very long, so you can fit those bigger items like the Nintendo Switch in here. You can see it's kind of has a ton of space to work with in here now that all the other stuff is out of it. But you really can just fit so much inside of here. And I've said it enough times, I'm not going to say it anymore. The organization does do a good job, especially if you aren't using those bigger items. You could, like on the way home from the trip, I put a soft cover book here in this back panel, so that way I could have it on the plane with me and read on the plane, and then had, my chargers and stuff like that in the other areas. So really impressed with this thing, especially at a more budget-friendly price point. You're getting all of the stuff you'd expect from a higher-end bag. I know this isn't Cordura, but very durable materials, YKK zippers, Duraflex hardware. I'm just very impressed with it overall. Carries very comfortably. The little squeaking that, I'm sorry, I can't replicate, I've continued to try. I'm curious if anyone else owns this pack and if they've experienced that. That may be a deal breaker for some, but it's not loud enough to really bother me. So that's going to come down to personal preference, but as I said, very happy with this sling. So there you have it, the tomtoc Wander-T26 Daily Sling 5.5 liter. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.